Welcome to This Week in Habsland. I am Jordan and he is Brian. We are coming to you after the Canadiens, quite frankly, kicked the crap on the score sheet and in other ways, Arbor Jackeye, out of the Buffalo Sabres, 6-2 on the score sheet. Habs go up 2-1 heading into Game 4. Brian, hell of a game. A lot of places we can start. If it's okay, let's start with that Jackeye stuff there at the end. Because now it's 2 games in a row. The Canadiens have it out of sight. And this specifically at 6-2. We don't see Suzuki anymore, any of the star players. We see Demidov briefly on the power play just to trying to get him his first goal. At the very end of the game, Arbor Jackeye is everywhere, and he punches Sam Carrick. And throughout these last couple minutes, a lot of brouhaha, a lot of nonsense. There's a Gooley Benson thing that happens. Bell Center Game Ops throws on 2010 classic, I'm Not Afraid by Eminem. What were your thoughts?
My thoughts, and I don't know how you're going to feel about this. I don't know how our fans are going to feel about this, but I didn't think it was going to be a success until Malenstein was lying on the ice unconscious.
Oh, okay.
You. Don't run Dobes. Those are my first thoughts. Beyond that, I love seeing Jackeye everywhere. Basically, he almost looked like a dog, when a dog enters a room and there's a bunch of people and the dog doesn't know who to go to first because they're just wagging their tail. They're so excited to go. That's what Jackeye looked like with all the Buffalo Sabres. He was so excited to just go say a little word in each of their ears, like, don't mess around. I'm still here. Oh, there's another guy. I'm going to go see him. Okay, you stay here and don't do anything stupid because I'll be back. I love that, Arbor Jackeye. That's exactly what you need to do. In all seriousness, back to the Malenstein thing, because I'm still like, my blood is still boiling about it. Flashbacks of Chris Kreider on Carey Price, and that is a sore spot for all Montreal Canadiens fans. So I don't know why he wasn't cheap shot punched in the face at one point in the game. And this is horrific. I'm a pacifist. I don't like violence, but suddenly the Canadiens goalie gets run, and I want to see somebody punched until they're unconscious. Is that something that's wrong with me? Is it something that's wrong with, is it an overarching statement about hockey and our fans in general? I don't know. But I don't know. In your eyes, in your mind, you tend to be more rational. I tend to be more emotional, especially with shit like this. Did you think there was enough of a response towards Malenstein after that brutal running headfirst? Like, the initial contact was Dobes' head. I don't know how it wasn't a 5-minute for head contact. Forget goaltender interference.
Yeah, so a lot of thoughts on this. I don't want to spend too much time on this. I don't think you want to either. But I think we're going to get to the nexus of it, which is going to answer part of your question.
Please.
So one is the refs were just unqualified for this game.
Totally.
They just were, to the point where it was getting dangerous for players on both sides, right? So that's point number one. Point number two, yes, there's a sore spot. There's multiple references to Kreider on Habs social media right now. It looked really violent. He only got 2 minutes for it. I don't know. In terms of enough of a response, because that's kind of what I want to dig in on. The thing we've learned over these 2 games, specifically Game 2 and now in Game 3, I don't think anyone on Buffalo wants to drop the gloves with Arbor Jackeye, with Josh Anderson, hell, even like a Caden Gooley or a Kirby Dach or a Zach Borzuk. You know what I mean? I'm never going to advocate for let's go cheap shot them back. I don't have it in me. I know some people will, but okay, you need to own up for it. You have to fight now. That I'm cool with, right? Give the guy a fair chance. That I don't like the sucker punching. Don't throw an elbow. Don't hit him back like that. But let's do this. You did that. It's time to answer. These are somewhat archaic, but these are the rules of hockey.
Yeah, it's the code.
It's the code. You're right. But we've learned through these last 2 games specifically, Buffalo doesn't have that.
Right.
They don't. They did not answer the bell at the end of Game 2 with Greenway, and even now, how you can look at the Gooley Benson moment there with 3-4 minutes left. Part of it is Caden Gooley just, I think, properly calibrating. Zach Benson's not going to drop the gloves with me. He knows it.
Of course.
So he holds back. But I think now look, that's when this happens back-to-back games, 5-2, 6-2, and you're getting whooped literally as well. That has to start, weighing on you. At some point, Buffalo's going to have to answer the bell on this stuff. And look, this is a team that ran the Habs out of the building in Game 1, so they can always come back to it. But for the last 2 games, the Habs have been better for the Malenstein stuff. I hated it. Like, credit Jakub Dobes for just getting up.
Yes.
Because, yeah, we see a goalie get run like that. He got like, there was like a human-sized missile that got launched at him. And that he just, thank goodness he got up. He seemed fine. It was scary stuff. But to me, what's really been encapsulated on all of this is just Buffalo can only take it so far physically. And this isn't like they're fraudulent or anything, or someone might say that, but it's more just like they can only get to a certain part with the antics or the plays on the margins, the Brad Marchand element of it. They can only do that so much because they don't have those guys that once you cross that line can fight. They don't have, not to reference too many Boston guys, but the Milan Lucic or the Zdeno Chara to back up the Brad Marchand play, because those guys haven't said yes to anything in games 2 or 3. Jack was looking for it again. I forget who it was with, but it was late in the third period. Him and one of the other Buffalo guys.
Logan Stanley was looking at him when they were both on the bench, and I think that came from which Stanley has massive size, but Jack's a better fighter. Like there's no question about that. Anyway, thank you, Jordan. You've successfully you've taken the pitchfork out of my hand, and you've quenched my torch. I will not be advocating for cheap shots against Malenstein, even though he's a piece of shit. Maybe just hit him hard. How about that? Legal hits, but hit him hard. Maybe a charge.
It's been working. These last 2 games, it's been working. The way the Canadiens are playing perfectly. Like Buffalo is, I think, maybe over-indexing on a certain type of style of play, a certain way to try to get under the Canadian skin, and it has been thus far unsuccessful. But let me turn you to some happy stuff. Let's talk about the wizard that is Lane Hutson.
Great.
Because he made one bad play in game 1, and since then he's like, that's never happening again. I'm going to create 3 to 5 plays a game now that our team should probably convert on at least half of them. They did today. There could have been more, like 6-2, let's be honest. 8 or 9-2 is in the cards. There's the Caulfield chance in the first period. There's the disallowed BS call.
Yeah.
That right there is 8-2. Or maybe there's not an empty netter, but you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, of course.
Where do you want to start with Lane? Do you want to start with the Caulfield goal, or just any one other of his like rush chances or pass breakups? Like,
no, let's start with the
best player today.
Let's start with the Caulfield goal. Yes, he was the first star. In my eyes, he was absolutely the best player. He had a single tiny little blemish that I won't even really mention, but it was that all right, I'll mention it. It was the hesitation at the blue line. He wanted to pinch and then he didn't pinch, and then Malenstein, then he has to obstruct him, and that's interference.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, all right. That compared to the dozen beautiful fakes that he made, just completely undressing the Buffalo defense and getting the puck to Caulfield without even looking at him, just knowing he's there. What a silver platter. What a beautiful silver platter for Cole Caulfield that play was, because it really was going to take that. It was becoming clearer and clearer to me that A, Caulfield was going to score, and that B, he had to be given it as a gift. Because how many times can you be that close and hit a post or be robbed or just miss the net? Like, he also had the one on the doorstep on the power play at one point. I couldn't tell if it went off his foot or if it just went off his stick and he didn't get all the wood on it, but it went wide.
Yeah.
But it took Hutson making that unbelievable deke to undress a defenseman, get him the puck, open net. That's what it took. And hopefully the floodgates are open now. We saw 5 different Montreal Canadiens score tonight, so it's not like it needed to be all Caulfield as it did at various points during the regular season. We saw a bunch of goals from different dudes. So with Caulfield, that one play was so beautiful. So I wanted to highlight that one first. I'm sure you've got others because there were many.
Yeah, I mean, on the Caulfield stuff, I think that first opportunity you're referencing in the first period, I think there is, whoever the weak side, it was probably attacker on the Buffalo side, I think they do get a stick in the way to disrupt Caulfield a bit, and that's why he misses shooting it onto the nets and goes between the net and Alex Lyon. On the goal, if memory serves correct, I think it was Jordan Greenway that gets basically put on a poster, and just the freeze frame that is, it's going around social media, but the freeze frame is delightful. This is Lane Hutson. This is what a superstar does. He will find a moment and create a goal on his own. It is not his goal, it is Cole Caulfield's, but Hutson was doing it. There's another rush chance that he creates. I think this was probably in the first period. Yes, it was, where he just strong arms his way through the neutral zone into the offensive zone. Canadians don't convert, but there was multiple moments coming of him just being like, I'm just going to be the better player today and get us a goal. So, I mean, he was terrific today. Because of the scoreline, they didn't actually have to overuse him too much. And that's part of like, again, the last 4 or 5 minutes, none of the big guys are being used. Only Mike Matheson and Alex Carrier got up there because in part of the penalty kill in the third period. And then also, again, the last 4 or 5 minutes, no Lane Hutson. Hutson, though, gets his 2 points. He's a plus 2. For my money, he was their best player today. And we can shift into the power play if you want, because it finally converted. We have the Hutson created Caulfield goal.
Yeah.
And then the other one, also, that's where Hutson picks up his other assist. Just put a gigantic Slovakian dude in front of the net. Turns out you score a goal, right?
That is absolutely correct. Off the stick, off the leg, and good luck to you, Alex Lyon. You were not stopping that one. Yeah, it's as clear as anything. It's you put a big dude in front of the net to screen and to tip, and it's likely going to work if the shooter is half decent at finding his stick. And here it worked. It's similar in that way in terms of the screening element to the goal that went on Dobes. That in our group chat with our pals, you said they've scored 2 identical goals now. The defenseman, in this case Rasmus Dahlin, takes the wrist shot against the grain to the opposite side of the way that Dobes is looking to get around the 3, 4, 7, 26 players that are in his way. And it just straight up works. So it's nice to see the Canadiens using that as well. Is it something that I'm overly concerned with from a defensive standpoint? You know, there were potentially ways to clear the front of the net there, but with a lateral play like that, with Dahlin moving across the blue line as he does, it's tough to do because you might just be moving the Buffalo forward into the next lane where he's going to be shooting from anyway. So that's a tough play to make. The power play converting is awesome because it hasn't looked half bad in this series. It's just they weren't getting the goals. The puck hadn't been going in as much as we were hoping. And then tonight they get a few, and that's such a relief. Do you have anything else on? Yeah, go ahead on the power play.
So on Slav, the power play in general, my thinking for this has been it's been turning around probably since Game 6 against Tampa, and I know they overpass, and I would love to, and I will do this at some point when I have time. Look at the number of shot attempts per minute the Canadiens have on the power play compared to other teams, because eye test for all of us is wow, these guys overpass a lot, and the answer is they probably do. Part of it is I think Demidov's too much, like he's a rookie and he's ultimately trying to defer. Although you've seen it in these last 2 games where they're telling him if it gets to you anywhere in the near the half wall in the faceoff circle, rip it. And he is ripping it. He will score at some point.
He almost had one on a one-timer tonight. Lyon came across and made a beautiful save up high. I thought it was in. It was so close.
Yeah. Because the problem is the 3 guys, Hutson, Caulfield, and Suzuki, are way overpassing. That's true. And Slavkovsky's in the toughest spot. But he's also the trigger guy. He's the guy who scores things because he's half his goals this year on the power play. So
probably more.
Beyond that though, like they have been trending positively. A lot of zone time. They've been getting really good, I think, at recovering the puck after a shot attempt. Part of me, and I've posited this idea in the past of like, because they don't have the biggest dudes, they wait for a 10% better chance rather than just ripping it on that and then having to win a board battle. Even though you have theoretically a numbers advantage, you can send in 3 when they send in 2 on a board battle on a power play. And then the other secret weapon is they, again, always know where Lane Hutson is. When they're entering the zone or when they're trying to settle things down, they all know where Hutson is without having to look. It really is a superpower. That's basically because, 4 of these 5 guys have played on the first power play for 2 years now, and Demidov joined this time last year. Now, so look, Slav scored. He has 4 now. Caulfield scored. He has 2 now. It's still not at 5-on-5, but I'm not going to harp on that. If those guys are putting the puck in the net, I don't care. 5-on-5, 3-on-3, 4-on-7. Who cares?
Yeah, it doesn't
Pucks
matter.
Are going in net from.
Yep.
Exactly. Now, I did have an issue with Slavkovsky defensively today because my guy was so casual once the puck got on his stick, like 12 feet from the blue line. Very casual in trying to get it out. Multiple times turned it over. I know what he's trying to do, and there's especially one where it was okay, we're about to do a line change. Let me bring it back in, pass it back to my defender, and let me get off the ice. It backfired multiple times today. So I'm just like, I like where his head's at in terms of he's like, I'm going to slow the game down. I'm going to bring it to my pace. But There was a few too many of those today, and I was starting to wonder, especially with Buffalo pressing at the beginning of the third, where it was like all forecheck, which that's what you're supposed to be doing when you're down 2 and you're chasing.
Yeah.
We were going to start to see a couple more chipping out. But instead, what ended up happening, and theoretically what could happen if you're not just chipping it up and out, you're going to be able to create an odd man rush. And for the second straight game, the Canadiens score on an odd man rush a couple times. But the one I wanted to point out there is it's the third period. It's the Kirby Dach goal, which makes it 5-2. You have Texier and Danault just flying down. But that's done in part because of how aggressive Buffalo had to be and how smart the Canadiens were in getting the puck out of the zone. So, yeah, I just wanted to bring that up for the Slav stuff. Like, it got me a little bit worried, but they did settle it down eventually. But that is meant to happen. And for a team like Buffalo, we spoke about, if they're going to be trailing and they're going to be pushing, you're going to have odd man rushes. If Buffalo are going to keep being chippy, you're going to get power play opportunities. If you can hurt them, you're going to either A, keep hurting them, or B, force them to change their preferred style of play. They didn't change their preferred style of play today.
No.
And they lost 6-2.
Well,
do they change it in game 4? We'll see, but
are they even capable of another style? Are they?
That's fair.
Are they even capable of it? I don't know that they are. The Canadiens proved that they're capable of 2 different styles. They played the Lightning system and beat them at their own game. Now they're playing the Buffalo system and making them look terrible. Terrible. I want to tackle a little bit. So the Slav stuff, absolutely true. He was not the only one. Caulfield, his line mate.
Yeah.
Their very first shift, opening goal.
Yep.
They're like, Buffalo is just dominantly cycling right off the start. I'm getting flashbacks to game 1, and I'm like, uh-oh, what's happening here? Caulfield finally gets possession, and then just a little a la Matheson flub. I say I shouldn't throw Matheson under the bus, but like, he's the one who's done it the most. Let's be real. Caulfield flubs it. It goes to the point. Yeah. They score seconds later. Got to get that puck out. Anyway, not the end of the world. And then on Dach, you mentioned his 5-2 goal. What I loved about that was a kind of flashback to Game 7 against Tampa, where the puck is iced. Oh no, there's a broken stick. Never mind. And they get possession back after that play. No ice. And then Dach goes in and scores a little while later. So absolutely loved that. I'm finding, in general, and listen, these are our tropes, buddy. You make basketball-related comparisons. I make Dragon Ball Z-related comparisons. And I've made this one before in various ways because it's one of my favorite things in the world. Montreal going up against Tampa, a seasoned veteran team who defends exceptionally well, who has arguably the best goalie in the world right now in Vasilevsky, who gives you 0 time and space in any zone. You can't even think. That's Goku with the weights on. And then you go to Buffalo. And you come back home, especially against Buffalo. Now you're playing Buffalo where, oh shit, now I have time and space. And it's Alex Lyon in nets, not Andrei Vasilevsky. It really looks like the Canadiens not only are now able to play their preferred style, which is the Buffalo style. So like people might be saying after watching the Tampa Bay series, and I've seen a lot of people talk about this who don't cover the Canadiens specifically. So they don't know the Habs game necessarily, saying that Buffalo is just going to destroy you if you try and outpace them, outspeed them, like outskill them. Buffalo's going to destroy you. That's not at all what's happening. The Canadiens are able to play their own style, which is that outpace the opposition, outchance them, odd man rush, and they're dominating them. Tonight was a bitch slapping of epic proportions, if not for the third period where Buffalo had to do something and just laid it on super thick. The Canadiens would have absolutely dominated them in every single facet, every advanced analytic. The shots taken, the high danger scoring chances at one point were 2 to 3 times better for the Canadiens. This was late in the second when I saw this stat. I haven't checked since. Who cares? But like outchancing Buffalo in terms of high danger scoring chances like crazy. So it just reminded me of Goku taking the weights off. It really feels like the Canadiens are able to just have fun again playing their game, play a speedy type of game, a transition type of game. And a couple of goals were the proof of that tonight. The Newhook goal that started everything, that was really high pit. Like he crashes and bangs behind the net to draw a puck out, and then he sneaks to the dangerous area out in front, almost like a trailer, gets the puck after Evans, rebound, puts it in. Sorry, it's late. I'm not making myself clear. But
that's it. You got it.
That's
right.
what happened. And then what was the other one? The other one was the Bolduc goal. Yes, yep. Zach Bolduc, where Veleno crashes in, wins the foot race, gives it back to the trailer Bolduc, who makes no mistake. Like, they're just able to play their style now. So
Yeah.
all that fear we had in game one of like, oh shit, Buffalo's pace is just too fast for the Canadiens. No, the Canadiens just needed to reset. They just needed to go, oh no, this isn't the Lightning. We can play our game again. Let's have some fun.
Yeah. It's the welcome to the playoffs, by the way. Joe Veleno picked up an assist. I think he had 5 hits today. Kirkland boy. We got both West Island boys on the board in this round. On the style of play stuff, I don't want to spend too much time on it because I feel like we need more time and distance from it. But I wonder when we look back at these playoffs, if this is the playoffs where the Canadiens have figured out what their style is. Because it's both. It's both the Tampa series and it's the Buffalo series. And I think we're seeing it get closer and closer to that mixture. I don't want to use the word hybrid because hybrid means other stuff in terms of defensive zone structure. But in terms of how they want to play, we are seeing kind of both elements now. And maybe part of it is you're just not playing as a formidable defensive team. Now, you can argue Buffalo is way faster and more skilled, theoretically, than the Tampa Bay Lightning. But also, these 3 teams, man, they were so close to each other in the regular. What did they finish? 2 points apart between the 3 of them?
3, I think. Yeah, 109, 106, 106.
So
nothing.
Maybe, and all the Buffalo still has, they'll have game 5 at home. It's only 2-1. This is far from over.
Of course, yeah.
And Buffalo's still super talented, and they still have great guys on that team. And like, as much as we hate him, Zach Benson is doing his job correctly. Now, this job may make his NHL career shorter, but for right now, he has been probably the most effective Buffalo Sabre. Nonetheless, style-wise, I think they're figuring out the style in these playoffs. The other thing you mentioned about the weights. So the weights have come off. Okay, is Buffalo going to change pants? Is Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen going to come in? What's happening?
I don't know. That idea is fascinating because Lions having a tough go of it. I will say, though, I don't know that Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen would do any better. Like, there's a reason he got chased out of the net in the first place against Boston, who is way less offensively gifted than the Canadiens are. So, sure, you know what? I'm all for it. Change goalies as many times as you guys want. It doesn't matter to me. At this point, I think either goalie is going to be beatable with the Canadiens.
Yeah.
And this might sound arrogant right now, but we did just pummel them for a second time in a row, once on the road, once at home. And one last thing I'll throw in about just the style element, and obviously you could jump off of this if you want to, but like game 1, Buffalo has a 2-goal lead. They park the bus. They just completely shut down offensively, dumping and chasing, and one guy's going deep. That's it. Everybody else is back. We are not risking anything. What did the Habs do tonight? And what did the Habs do last game? They didn't park the bus. They just kept going. Score more goals. Get a breakaway, Alex Newhook. Get an automatic goal. Like, it's nearly textbook for this style. And I'm so thrilled to see it this early in the progression of this team. It's not what I was expecting.
You do wonder if Lane Hutson doesn't go off the crossbar at the beginning of game 1, how much different game 1 might be. Because we talked about some weird bounces in that first period. The Canadiens are down 2-1. Yes, and then Buffalo puts the pedal to the metal in the second. That's their best period of the entire series. Canadiens can't catch up. They can't break through. They look exhausted in the third period of game 1. Not to relitigate that, but I do wonder what happens in that sense.
Sure.
So let's see. We haven't talked about Jakub Dobes yet. Eventful night. I mean, we kind of did in terms of the Malenstein stuff. I think this was another game where he makes 26 saves on 28 shots. Didn't have to steal it. Was perfectly fine. Had some nice there's nice moments here and there. And there's a big save at 4-2. When the game's still very much in hand. It's on the penalty kill. And the Canadiens, some big penalty kills down the stretch. But I think I'm trying to find it. There's a moment where he's playing without a stick. Has to freeze the puck. And then there's another stop I think on Alex Tuck as well during that 2-minute stretch. So that's at 4-2. So that's when the game's still in hand. Right after that is when you have the Kirby Dach goal. He did just enough. Are you worried at all? I got a call from my father right as the game ended. He says, I like what's happening here. I'm getting a bit worried on Dobes being too involved in the game. We've talked about him kind of riding the line, and not that I want to make this a topic because I find this is a bit of a lazy discussion to have because he's been awesome on the ice, and that's what we kind of need to figure out. But
right.
What do you think of Jakub Dobes' night?
As long as he's stopping pucks, I don't really care what he's doing beyond that. And again, with the obvious asterisks of don't get injured, don't get hurt, don't get into a fight with some big dude who's going to hurt you. As long as the puck's not going in the net, and he's having great games as he has been, I think I'm fine with it. Like, Dobes has always had a little bit of spiciness, and in the regular season it's quelled considerably because I think he recognizes, like, there's a time and place for this. What better time and place to be a little bit aggressive or assertive or whatever you want to call it than in the postseason? I think it's completely legitimate. And also, if he was playing against a team who was respectful of his crease, which I know that's a little rare in the playoffs, but those teams do exist, I don't think he'd be punching guys. I don't think he'd be getting into the face of players and talking at them. Maybe he'd be trying to get under the skin of players, but he certainly wouldn't be trying to punch anyone. Buffalo ain't like that. The Sabres come into your crease and they'll crash and bash and push your players into you and try and land on you accidentally. And so I think I'm fine with it. I don't really mind it. He had also, just on the topic of like really nice saves, at 2-1, right after the 3-1 goal was negated, and therefore the momentum could have shifted Buffalo's way majorly. On the rush, he makes a beautiful like splits glove, low glove save, which is not an easy save to make. And saves the puck, freezes it, like massive save at a crucial point in the game, and then Budzik scores minutes later. Like that's a major momentum shift in a game where it was 2-1, and we're going to get into the importance of 2-1 very shortly when we talk about game 4. But it was 2-1 and it became 3-1, not 2-2, because in part of that save, and then in part because of Veleno, who we talked about, rushing in, winning the foot race, getting it back to Budzik. Like, man, I know, like, I'm all over the place. I'm still just, I think we were both pacing the entire game. Last game, you asked me when did I unclench, and I told you that it was like pretty early on when we had the 2-0 goal. I wasn't worried. Tonight, I didn't unclench till the very end because I was sure that Malenstein was going to come two-hand slash somebody in the head, or, you know what I mean? Like, I was just scared for the health and safety of our players rather than losing that game.
Yeah, and that comes back to the refs not doing their job properly early on and settling things down. Quickly on a couple other guys I wanted to touch on. The Dano Anderson goal will happen at some point. I'm happy to report that. It didn't happen today. They're going to get there. Phil Dano, just great play. He had one like awesome pass breakup on the penalty kill towards the end. That like really gutsy one with about 8 minutes left. Great play. I mean, he has the him and Anderson still playing well. Zach Bodzuk, we've talked about him here and there. Him and Veleno and Kirby Doc on that line, whatever you want to call it, second line, third line, fourth line. I don't even know anymore. I thought they were fantastic. The energy those guys bring. Bodzuk is, we talked about it last game. He's unlocked something. Quickly on Lyon, because this kind of came in while we were talking about it. Lindy Ruff, and I'll quote this: "I'm going to stop you right now. Got nothing to say about Lyon. He was good all night." End quote. So that initially would indicate that Alex Lyon will likely play in game 4.
Okay.
I think that's fine. Like, sure. I wouldn't blame the game on him, but part of it's going to be up to Lindy Ruff to make some decisions here on how he wants to adjust going forward. And the game couldn't have started better for them. Tage Thompson scores right out of the gate, 55 seconds in, and it didn't matter. The Canadiens just were the better team pretty consistently. You know, Buffalo throws it on there at the end, but, you know, Alex Newhook's great. Zach Bodzuk's great. That the whole bottom 9, whatever you want to call it, it's doing great. The big guys woke up on the power play. And because, again, it wasn't that close of a game, no one really got burned with like 26 minutes, 28 minutes, the way we were seeing it by the end of the series against Tampa. Shifting to game 4. We're here again, everybody. I love game 4s. They're my favorite of all the games in the series because when it's not 3-0 and there's no farcical team like the Philadelphia Flyers in the second round, you actually get to learn something really interesting because there's a huge chasm between 3-1 and 2-2. 2-2 is we're essentially resetting. We have the history of the first 4 games, but we're essentially going to reset. 3-1 is, and I forget what the percentage is, but it's got to be somewhere in the 90+% chance that this series is more or less over. We saw the Canadiens last year against Washington have a lead in game 4. Carrier Wilson hit happens. They fall apart. They lose game 4. They're eliminated in game 5. 2 weeks ago, the Canadiens are up 2-0. Cole Caulfield scores on the power play. They're up 2-1 in the series. Slav gets rocked. And then they give up 3 straight goals. They lose game 4. They recover in the series. They win it. But game 4 is huge. Game 4 is a huge toggle, I find, personally. And I think it's like a really, like, this is Buffalo's first absolutely real test of their season. Of, hey, if we lose, we're going down 3-1. Now we're going back home, but we're going to be down 3-1. What do you think we're going to see on Tuesday night?
Desperation. From Buffalo specifically, absolute desperation. We need to win this game or things are going to get real bad for us real fast. You don't want to go back to Buffalo with the need to win. You want to go back to Buffalo with a 2-2 best of 3 knowing you're going to have 2 at home. If like, and I'm talking from the perspective of the Buffalo Sabres, that's what they want. I think the Canadiens just go back in and play their game and try and stomp on the throat. As I said, when we talked about this 2 weeks ago, and the Canadiens were unable to do that. They alternated wins back and forth. 1-0, 1-1, 2-1, 2-2, 3-2, 3-3, 4-3 finally. This is the first time the Canadiens have won 2 games in a row, by the way. And on another note, holy crap, streak broken. You could stop talking about the edit schedule. I told you jinxes weren't real. Come on. Yeah. What is this shit?
We'll see. We can still play the odds.
Yeah, possibly.
They're still vast. They are still undefeated with you as the editor. Let's just...
Sure.
I'll hang on to that for now.
Yeah. All right. Well, I hope that stays the case because that's half the game's won right there. But all in, I just think desperation is the perfect word from Buffalo's perspective. Not to say that they haven't been desperate already. They're playing desperate hockey. They're playing the way that they should be playing. They're just not playing it as well as the Canadiens are. So I think if I'm Lindy Ruff, I'm just gonna grill into the minds of them that like death is not the 4th loss. Death is the 3rd loss if you lose it in game 4.
So clearly not an adjustment, but part of what they've been tuning up in game 3 was to get in Dobesh's cage a lot more.
Yeah.
Like the difference between how they attacked him in game 1, which was basically non-existent, to they started noticing it in game 2, obviously with the Benson goal being the big moment. And then in game 3, it was clear that it's like, okay, part of our little adjustment, let's be pests with Jakub Dobes. We saw Tampa Bay try to be pests with the Canadiens. Didn't really bother them. Now you can definitely goad the Canadiens into taking dumb penalties, but I'm not necessarily sure you can goad them into like collapsing. Now, the other thing we've seen the Canadiens fall apart in is huge hits. Huge hits can impact this team. I just mentioned the Slav one in game 4 of the last series. Now they've been getting rocked here and there, less so tonight. In fact, I can't remember one huge hit. There's no. Like Demidov gets rocked in game 2, so does Noah Dobson. I can't remember that happening here. So that not necessarily working in Buffalo was not as physical.
Oh, well, Dobes. There's the guy who got rocked. It's Dobes.
Fair enough. That's a good point.
Different thing, but yeah, anyway, sorry, continue.
So it's like, yeah, where do you go if you're Buffalo? Do you just say, we're going to get better goaltending. We're going to tidy things up on the forecheck in terms of it's not even our breakouts. It's just once Montreal gets the puck in, we're going to have to quickly move it or quickly get it out or slow them down in the neutral zone, which Tampa was very successful at doing for large parts of the series. Now, where the push and pull comes is like, can Buffalo actually, do they have the guys to do that? Or do they just say, let's lean into our strengths, which is largely playing what they've done so far and saying, hey, look, we were the better team in game 1. Game 2 and 3 didn't go our way. We're confident we can get it back. I'm confident we can get the power play going again. I don't know. I don't think Buffalo is out of moves. It's just whether or not some of those counter moves that would be the most logical steps, I'm not sure Buffalo has the right personnel for it. So that's like, do you just try to, sound stupid, but like, do you just try to play your game better, or do you adapt your game to better counterpunch your opponent?
So have they, I flat out do not know Buffalo well, and I did not watch enough regular season games of them to know the answer to this question. Have they had to do that this season? And I don't know if you know the answer either. It would be nice to get a third voice who knows the Sabres in this pod or something. But I don't know that it's in their repertoire. They got to 109 points, first in the Atlantic, through the first round by playing their game, not needing to shift. As near as I can tell, again, with the caveat of, like, I don't know if they had to during the regular season, but like, they're a really good team when they play their style, and their style ain't working right about now. So I wouldn't, if I was them and Lindy Ruff, I wouldn't go back to the drawing board and say, okay, we need to shut them down in this way. Try this new defensive system you've never tried before, guys. Good luck. Remember when Marty did that with the Canadiens? It took about 6 months for them to figure it out, and even then there were blemishes here and there. Like, it's only really come to full form against Tampa in that last series, I thought, that the hybrid defensive system was really working well. And it took a long time. They're not going to be able to change gears, especially defensively. It's such a subtle thing.
It's not even changing like the tactics, specifically in terms of how you play in the defensive zone. It is, are you willing to concede what is largely your biggest strength and what led you to winning the best division in the league which is your speed and on the rush.
So you're just talking about risk taking, like eliminate risk.
Like, do you concede a little bit on that to be a bit more, discipline's the wrong word, but positionally sound?
You know what? One thing would be positive for them for this. Their power play sucks. It's not good, right? Like we've talked about that before. But they've gotten their licks.
Has moments.
They've had moments. Sure. But it's not a strong suit. Right? They're better at 5-on-5 than they are on the power play.
For sure.
How do you generate power plays? With your speed. So that's the other like it's one thing to be scoring, getting opportunities, scoring goals because of your speed and your counterattack and all that shit. But the other reason to do it is to get power plays. Like the Canadiens drawing penalties to get a power play. Totally valid strategy because their power play kicks ass. Whereas Buffalo's doesn't that much. So that's one more reason that, we could do away with that potentially. Now, if Lindy Ruff had this thought and wanted to implement this, would a second thought not enter his mind immediately of, hang on a minute, Tampa just tried this, and they're actually good at that, like zero risk play, and they got beat by the Canadiens?
So the reason I'm saying all of this and like we're having this discussion is because I think that's what they're going to do, where they're going to have to be a bit safer. And and you still rely on your speed. You are still super fast. You just might not be able to start in fourth gear the way you always do. You might have to start in third gear now.
And maybe you don't have that fourth man come in.
Yeah. I mean, we saw it like even today, like they had a couple moments, and the credit to the Habs on the back check, but like there's moments where like they had it again where it's like it's a 2-on-2 and you just see that third or fourth Sabre coming in. And you're like, and then one guy goes right to the net. They were still doing elements of it, but credit to the Habs, like there is another team on the other side of the ice. We'll see. I don't think they're out of moves, and I think there's so much skill still on this Buffalo team that they can still win a game with skill. And
sure.
But what we're seeing right now is that the Habs role players, at least the forwards, are contributing in borderline an unprecedented way offensively, with Kirby Dach scoring a goal again, with Alex Newhook getting two, once an empty netter, but nonetheless, Jakub Dobes getting a goal. And we've seen these guys over and over again. And Texier has contributed big goals in the Tampa Bay series and on and on. Eventually, Phil Deneau and Jake Evans will score at this point. But Anderson was huge early on in the Tampa series. Like there's so much depth scoring that they've been getting. The scary part for Buffalo is what if the first line actually starts to click, because there are moments where it's happening at 5-on-5. Now they did get caved in a couple times, which I really didn't like. And I don't necessarily know why that was, but there was at least 3 shifts early on where the Canadiens' first line got hemmed in for like a whole minute. Didn't like it, including the opening goal.
Yeah.
But that's the scary part with this whole thing, that the Habs are up 2-1 in the second round. The first line has nothing at 5-on-5, when we know that's something that has been, the gears have slowly been turning. So I will ask you now, like what we've started doing almost as a tradition here. Tell me one thing that's going to happen in game 4 and tell me who's going to win.
Habs take game 4 at home. One thing that's going to happen. Was I right on my last one? I feel like I said that Cole was finally going to score.
I don't remember anything we say in the last episodes.
Yeah, that's
sorry.
It's late. It's fine. It ain't. No, zero offense taken. I think I called it. So what do I want to call next? I think I want to call a Jack-Eye bomb. Jack-Eye's going to score a slap shot goal.
Sure. Okay.
Let's go with something unlikely. Let's go fun.
I had the same player in mind, but I think we're getting a fight in game 4.
Wow. Who the hell is going to be willing to go with Jack-Eye?
I don't know, but if game 4 goes the way these other games have gone, at some point Buffalo has to do something. And something I've wanted to see is, we've barely seen this series tied. It's almost always had one team leading the other. There's been brief moments of tie where the game's been tied. Seeing how Buffalo plays leading versus tied versus trailing to me is fascinating, because I think they might be the best front runners in the league. Once this team goes up a goal or two, they tend to just blow your socks off and just hit you out of the park. That didn't happen today, but that's largely in part because that first goal was a fluke. Not a fluke, but just like it sucked. It was like, let's just take a mulligan. I want to see what the series looks like when it's like tied halfway through the third period, and what that stretch of play looks like. Because what we've seen a lot is score effect of just like, well, this team's getting destroyed. The third period, data-wise, is going to be all out of whack. So I think game 4 is going to be a lot closer. I think we're going to see, I think it's going to be a Jack-Eye fight. I think 4 is going to be a lot closer. I do think the Habs will pull away and take it. But I don't think we're getting like another 5-2, 5-1, 6. I don't think that's happening again. I think Buffalo is going to slow it down forcefully. And them too. They are also trying to figure out what their style of play is. And maybe now is the moment where they're going to try to sprinkle in, okay, we need to think a little bit more on the defensive end, slow things down. Maybe this is smoke by rough and maybe UPL will come in, but we'll see. So I think they're going to win. I find game 4 is interesting. Brian, any final words before we wrap?
Just on the Jack-Eye thing in the fight, I agree with you. There might be one at one point. I think it's more likely that Buffalo accepts when they're at home. Get the building on your side. I don't know. Maybe I'm I'm offline.
We said like the moment was in the first period of game 2, was it not?
Of course, for sure.
When you could have made an impact with the fight.
Yeah, there were various moments in game 2 that any one of those, either Malenstein or the other ass on his line, Greenway, when one of them could have accepted a fight from either Jack-Eye or Anderson and didn't. No, I don't think I have any other thoughts. It's very nice to be chatting about the Habs after they've won 2 playoff games in a row.
Absolutely. So we'll wrap it there. I will say 13 Habs had a point today. Nick Suzuki was not one of them. What a bum. No, I'm kidding. Nick
suck.
went 14 and
never disparage
14 and
Captain Nick. What's wrong with you?
No. He had
okay, there it is. Actually, I do have one last thing.
Sure. Okay.
Welcome to Alex Newhook being positive in the faceoff dot. All it took was playing against Buffalo. 5-3 tonight. Are you shitting me? 62.5% Newhook. You figured it out, buddy. Way to go.
That's it. All right, cool. We'll wrap it there. Go Habs for game 4. You can find us on social media at HabsLandPod. If you like what you hear, you can find the podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Share it with your friends, with your family. And until Tuesday night, go Habs.